I'm a genius restorer, with a pair of skilled hands that have repaired countless ancient texts. I'm hailed as a living, breathing artifact. The new intern on the team accidentally got the antique painting sent by the client wet. The client was furious. He had her tied up in the villa, demanding we complete the restoration within 24 hours, or he'd break Zhao Jingyi's hands. My boyfriend begged me desperately to step in. Wenli, you're the only one who can do this. Once this is over, I'll marry you. The team leader burst in and gave me an order. Wenli, this ancient painting is worth over 100 million. You must complete the restoration. I raised my injured hand. Sorry, my hand is burned. I can't do the restoration. Hearing this, both the team leader and Shen Zhao were stunned. The leader looked utterly devastated. What happened? Why now? Of all times, why did you have to get injured right now? I shrugged helplessly and handed over the medical report, gesturing toward my boyfriend Shen Zhao. You'll have to ask him about that. This morning, for some reason, he insisted on heating up milk for me and ended up spilling it all over my hand. I went to the hospital to get bandaged up before coming here, and I'm still late. Shen Zhao's face instantly turned ashen. The captain looked at him, a hint of reproach in his expression. I shrugged. I didn't see that coming either. Can't help you there. This kind of restoration requires meticulous work. Beneath the gauze, the wound still carried the scent of herbal medicine. The team leader knew this was no joking matter. He glanced at his phone again. Office phones were ringing off the hook when someone shouted, "The client is pushing for an update." The team leader then made up his mind and nudged me. Wenli, no matter what, you have to give it your best shot. You must handle the restoration, or our team will be on the hook for compensation. Are you kidding me? Look at my hands, they're covered in blisters. The doctor said I can't touch any solution anymore, or I'll ruin my hands completely. Besides, I didn't ruin the Chinese painting. Don't forget, it was you who insisted on giving Zhao Jingyi the practice, 100 million yuan antique painting, and you dared to let a novice handle it. Since that's the case, let her take full responsibility. If you don't have the skills, why take on a job you can't handle? If you mess it up, don't expect me to clean up your mess. Shen Zhao's expression darkened as he grabbed my wrist. The captain's right. If the whole team has to cover that 100 million, we'll never be able to pay it back. Just don't touch the solutions. You can assist from the side, and hand over all those solution formulas as well. Without giving me a chance to speak, he shoved me into a chair. Wenli, do as I say, otherwise, I absolutely won't let you stay any longer. His words hit me like a lead weight in the gut. The team leader chimed in. Exactly, the spot for the restoration team's training program next month won't be going to you either. My head snapped up as I stared at the team leader. He knew full well how long I'd been waiting for this, and now, for the sake of that Zhao Jingyi, he was actually going to give the opportunity to someone else. I let out a cold laugh. And what if I refuse to hand it over? Are you going to kick me off the team? That's your own assumption. And there's nothing we can do about it. I took a deep breath. Fine, sign the agreement. I'll give you the formula. I don't want anything else. On one condition, we never work together again. Shen Zhao was utterly shocked, and the team leader looked like he had a lot to say but couldn't find the words. Still, he nodded. All right, don't you dare regret this. I have no regrets about leaving a team that plays favorites. After signing the agreement, I handed over the solution formula to Shen Zhao and walked away without looking back. Restoring ancient paintings requires special soaking solutions, ones I developed myself after extensive experimentation. Now that I'm giving them away freely, I feel a surprising sense of relief, as if a weight has been lifted from both mind and body. Stepping out the gate, I made a call right away. Within 24 hours, everything came to light. When I got home, Shen Zhao still hadn't returned all night. I stared at my phone. The last time I'd messaged him was 3 days ago. Wenli, Jingyi isn't quite comfortable with it yet. I'll take her through it a few more times. Funny, on my birthday he was taking interns out for practice. Go for it then too. I slept well that night. Unusually, no one bothered me, but my hand still ached a bit. I took a painkiller before bed and slept straight through until morning. Early the next morning, Shen Zhao's message arrived right on schedule. We did it. Wenli, sorry to disappoint you, but this team works just fine with or without you. We still pulled it off. I glanced at it and suddenly burst out laughing. I ignored him, finished breakfast at my own pace, and was about to head to the repair shop. An ancient painting worth over 100 million yuan has been successfully restored, with the team using an innovative solution to rapidly repair it, sparking widespread online buzz over the rescue of a national treasure. Shen Zhao led the restoration team, standing together with Zhao Jingyi as they gave an interview to reporters. She took a deep breath and said gravely, honestly, it was a close Call this time, this mountain-dwelling scroll was brought back from a British auction house by my client. It had suffered water damage due to improper storage, but the restoration work hit a snag. I ended up trapped at the client's home, nearly getting my hands broken over it. Upon hearing this, everyone was shocked. What does Miss Zhao mean by that? The restoration was blocked. Is someone trying to prevent our national treasure from coming home? Who on earth would dare? They've got some nerve. Shen Zhaoyan nodded in agreement. We're a team, and it's true that training conservators takes time, but someone got too full of themselves, so the team let her go yesterday. Our team has no place for someone who lacks a sense of unity and responsibility. The entire team stood by Zhao Jingyi's side, leveling accusations against me. I watched Zhao Jingyi wrapped in Shen Zhao's coat, her eyes red and brimming with hurt. It's obvious she had a rough time with a client she might not have lost a limb, but she certainly took a beating. At that moment, I smiled at Zhao Jingyi. She immediately pointed in my direction. That's her, Wenli. She's the one who refused the restoration, blocking the national treasure's return. In an instant, every camera lens was trained on me, and I was surrounded by a swarm of reporters. Wenli, regarding their accusation that you stood by and let the national treasure be damaged, is that true? This is an ancient painting worth over 100 million. A collector rescued it from the auction house. Do you have any idea how much collective effort went into this? As a restorer, you're quite full of yourself, aren't you? I bet you throw your weight around the institute all the time. Are you really fit to be a conservator? I glanced around, peering through the crowd at Zhao Jingyi and Shen Zhao behind me. Their eyes were fixed on me, brimming with smug satisfaction. Shen Zhao's gaze was cool, tinged with a hint of guilt, but that small trace of remorse was quickly soothed away by Zhao Jingyi. Faced with a barrage of doubts, I calmly raised my hand for them to see. How exactly am I supposed to perform the repair? I asked. My hand is severely burned. To insist that I, and only I, handle such delicate work, is this workplace bullying, or is there some other agenda at play? Everyone was stunned at the sight of my hand and the blood seeping through the bandage. Someone quickly caught on. Maybe you did it on purpose. You just don't want to fix it. Exactly. What a vicious mind to make Zhao Jingyi lose a hand and destroy a national treasure. They didn't even hesitate to harm themselves. That's ruthless. There's a ruthless air about this woman's face. I looked at Shen Zhao, a sarcastic smile curling at the corner of my mouth. I didn't do this to myself. It was my so-called boyfriend, Shen Zhao. He's also the lead creator of the current restoration team. Just yesterday, he took over my job. 3 At those words, all eyes in the room snapped to Shen Zhao. A flicker of panic was clearly visible on his face, but he composed himself almost instantly. Wenli, I know you're upset, but I have to set the record straight. You've been hoarding the solution formula needed for the restoration work, refusing to share it. That's what's been holding our entire team back. Now everyone can see that we can carry on perfectly well without you. Restoration is meticulous and demanding work. We want more young people to join us, not to have one person calling all the shots. Yeah. That's right, Wenli, you're full of ill intentions and trying to sow discord. You call the shots in the restoration team. Even the team leader has to watch your mood. You refused to help yesterday just because Shen Zhao paid a little extra attention to Zhao Jingyi a few times. You're just trying to compete with her for male attention. How pathetic. The captain terminated the contract with you. And you've taken all the notes and insights from these past years, left nothing behind, don't you? Forget all the years you've spent here. It was the seniors who taught you everything and brought you up. How could you do this? The whole team was glaring at me with hostility. Looking at their faces, I couldn't help but laugh. That attitude of mine only made them even more furious. Zhao Jingyi pointed at me. The client told me the ancient painting was almost ruined. Wenli, you owe an apology to everyone, to all of us. I'm sorry. I scoffed lightly. Apologize? You're not even worth it. Hearing that, Zhao Jingyi's eyes immediately welled up. Wenli, I've always respected you as a senior. How could you do this? Wenli, Shen Zhao snapped, shielding Zhao Jingyi as he declared sharply, we're through. My family would never accept someone with such a malicious heart. From now on, we go our separate ways. Well said. A woman like her doesn't deserve brother Shen Zhao. Zhao Jingyi chimed in with feigned concern. Brother Shen Zhao, please think it over. After all, you've been together for 2 years. No need. Shen Zhao's voice was resolute, as if being associated with me was utterly repulsive to him. As it happened, I felt exactly the same way. I couldn't help but throw my head back and laugh. Well said. I'm also ashamed to apologize to a pair of artifact traffickers like you. You don't deserve it. The moment the words left my mouth, the other party was stunned. Zhao Jingyi stared, dumbfounded. Wenli, you, how can you just spout such nonsense? It's you who's The problem, using restoration as a cover, who knows how many artifacts you've secretly sold, and what about that antique vase last time, after Olju entrusted you with its restoration, it turned out to be a fake once it left your hands. He even had to call in an appraiser afterward. As soon as Zhao Jingyi said this, the truth dawned on everyone. That's right, now I remember. Olju once lamented how the quality of restorers is so uneven, with damage and illicit trafficking of cultural relics happening all the time, so it turns out Wenli is an antiquities dealer. No wonder he's so protective of his research findings. Thief crying stop thief. How disgusting. No sooner had the words been spoken than a swarm of police cars came screaming onto the scene. Seeing this, Zhao Jingyi grew instantly excited. Look, the police are here, she exclaimed. Wenli, even if you apologize now, no one will listen. Seeing her foolish expression, I couldn't help letting out a cold laugh. Group of police officers got out of the car, and the one in charge walked straight over. We've received a tip that someone is trafficking in cultural relics and stealing national treasures. At that, everyone turned to look at me, but I remained completely calm. Yes, I'm the one who reported it. Everyone at the restoration center except me is a relic smuggler. For as soon as those words were out, it wasn't just me. Our captain and the entire restoration team completely lost it. Wenli, what nonsense are you talking about? Wenli, you're the classic case of a thief crying stop thief. You're clearly the mastermind behind the antiquities trafficking, yet you still have the nerve to turn the tables on others. The officer looked at me and asked, do you have any evidence? Of course I have evidence. Let's start with this antique painting from today. I never touched this painting at all, because I had already been scalded before that. I presented the burn certificate from the hospital, along with video footage of Xin Zhao intentionally scalding me with hot milk at the time of the incident. Xin Zhao's face turned pale, never expecting I'd actually held back a trick, and all of this is just to keep me from touching the ancient painting. They're the ones planning to take it themselves. I've already ruined Xin Zhao's plans several times before, so this time he absolutely won't let me get involved. The painting has now been restored, but it was already moved last night. Before I could finish speaking, my former apprentice Xiaoxing shot back. We worked all night repairing it. Everyone was at the restoration workshop. How could they have been moved away? Hearing this, Xin Zhao also breathed a sigh of relief. Exactly, Wenli, that's a rather heartless thing to say. We've all been working through the night. Our eyes are bloodshot. How could we possibly have moved it? I scoffed. So this is your grand plan. What if I told you that painting doesn't even need restoration? What did you say? Xin Zhao's expression darkened. I gave a cold laugh. The painting you're looking at right now is a fake. If you don't believe me, you can ask Olju to come and authenticate it. All the influencers and media were present. Hearing me say that, everyone looked skeptical. Xin Zhao was about to refuse when the police stopped him and immediately had someone fetch Olju. Zhao Jingyi grew frantic. This isn't fair. You can't just take her word that it's fake. Fake, Wenli. I think you're just bitter about being kicked out of the Restoration Institute, so you filed a false police report on purpose. With a pained expression, Xin Zhao said, officers, you must get to the bottom of this. Officer, I broke up with Wenli, and she's just bitter. That's why she's making these false accusations. How can we let her slander the reputation of our Restoration Institute like this? The team leader also stepped forward. Officer, this is utter nonsense. I just smiled and then presented the evidence. I already knew about this, so I came fully prepared. Xin Zhao, you probably never imagined this, but I knew all along that you were using artifact restoration as a cover for theft. That's why I installed surveillance cameras in advance, both at home and throughout my entire office space. Hearing this, he immediately panicked. I added, even the residence you arranged for Zhao Jingyi has cameras. Xin Zhao was instantly speechless. Wenli, no, that's not. I didn't even let him finish before pulling out my phone to play the video. It happened just 3 days ago. Zhao Jingyi was curled up in Xin Zhao's arms, both of them stark naked, clearly having just finished a fierce bout of passion. Brother Zhao, that old hag Wenli is really something else. The solution she developed, only she knows how to prepare it, but without that solution for the curing process, we can't restore any ancient texts. You've got to find a way to get your hands on the formula. Once you do, the Restoration Institute will be under your complete control. We'll kick her out and work together from the inside and out. This time, Mr. Mai has successfully obtained the painting in the UK. I'll infiltrate and damage it, assuming everything goes as planned. Only your Restoration Institute will be capable of handling this restoration. You absolutely cannot let Wenli take over. Last time she nearly ruined our plans. 5. Xin Zhao lit a cigarette and smiled. Don't worry, I've already made up my mind. Have you reached out to the buyer yet. We've already made the arrangements. The boss said we'll be well taken care of when the time comes. What the two said instantly reached everyone's ears, clearly revealing the entire process and motive behind the crime. The way everyone was looking at Shen Zhao had turned strange, and the team leader was utterly stunned. Shen Zhao, you. Shen Zhao took a deep breath, his whole body trembling, yet he still refused to admit it. I admit to cheating, but the resale thing is completely fabricated. All the restoration work was done at the restoration center yesterday. How on earth could I have pulled off any kind of switch? The captain snapped back to attention. Right, Wenli, how do you explain this? That's something you should ask the captain. Hearing that, he froze, his face turning red. What did you say? Wenli, don't slander me. I'm not in cahoots with them. Come on. The captain quickly caught on, hurrying to clarify. Shen Zhao, that's not what I meant. No, not at all. He immediately leveled his gun at me. Wenli, you'd better explain yourself. I've never been some antiquities dealer. What's the rush? I never said you were in cahoots with them, but you've definitely been their strongest support, helping them smuggle stuff out. I displayed a video clip once more. Last night at 1:00 a.m., a local pickup courier came to your door, didn't they? The captain caught on immediately. Yes, there is, but this is a directive from above. Besides, it's just documents. How could an ancient painting possibly be shipped out? That's Mr. Shen's handiwork. He rolled up the scroll, placed it in a cardboard tube, and left it outside the window. The delivery guy who came to pick up the package drew everyone's attention, but none of you noticed that two couriers had actually entered. The second man took the real painting. The security guard immediately lowered his voice and said, yes, I thought it was strange last night. The young man rushed out once, and I didn't see him go back in. Later, he came out again. I greeted him, but he ignored me. He was carrying a long cylindrical tube on his back. I even wondered to myself, what's this kid doing with a pole? Hearing this, the team leader instantly panicked. It was the higher-ups who told us to send out the list of personnel going for training this time and the recent restoration documents. That's why you could have just sent digital files. What era are we living in? Only you would believe that, Captain. You were completely fooled, letting them smuggle the painting right under your nose. Who would have thought the Restoration Institute was a den for artifact traffickers? Not only that, but the vase you asked me to restore earlier was also shipped out using the same method. Only back then, the restoration workshop's office had a leak, so everyone was in the middle of moving. Everything got packed up, and some items were even moved to that small warehouse in the southeast corner. Do you remember? I was right about that vase. It was shipped out through the boss you mentioned. I knew there was a mole in the restoration team, but I never imagined it would be you. Zhao Jingyi's appearances also felt a bit too coincidental. Every time she showed up, she'd bring gifts for everyone, either milk tea or greasy, heavily seasoned fried skewers. Restoration work can be tedious, and sure, these items are quite intriguing, but as a professional restorer, you surely know that anything with a scent could potentially affect the restoration of historical sites. 6. You've taught her for so long, and she still shows no remorse. That proves it's intentional. She's not here to genuinely make amends. She's just here to distract you. I won't deny that some members of the restoration team are full of youthful vigor. It's just a shame they've misdirected their energy, falling for Zhao Jingyi's petty tricks. My analysis left both of them pale. The people around were even more indignant. Scumbag and slut. The thief cries, stop thief. You even kicked her out of the restoration center. How shameless can you get? Thank goodness Wenli had seen through their schemes early on, or else they would have teamed up to ruin her completely. How dare this woman come out here and play the victim? What a disgrace. Someone, no one knew who, threw the first egg. It hit Zhao Jingyi square in the face. She let out a sharp scream and tried to hide behind Shen Zhao. The egg showed no favoritism. Shen Zhao received his share of the attention as well. The two of them stood there, dripping with raw egg, waiting for Olju to arrive. Olju arrived late and, without any preamble, got straight to the point. In full view of everyone, Olju took out a magnifying glass to examine closely and soon discovered something suspicious. No, the scroll is a fake. The paper of the painting has been artificially aged. It's clearly counterfeit. And to think they went to the trouble of using genuine ancient paper-making techniques. Are antiquities forgers really that skilled these days? As soon as Olju spoke those words, the crowd erupted in murmurs. Shen Zhao turned deathly pale. The captain stared at him in disbelief. Combined with the surveillance footage from last night, all his actions clearly proved that they were the real antiquities traffickers. I pulled out my trump card, the chat logs between Shen Zhao and them. I installed surveillance software on his phone. I know it's a Privacy issue, and I apologize for that. But to round up these despicable artifact traffickers, we had to resort to some unconventional methods. I believe the artifacts haven't left the country yet. I handed all the evidence over to the police, seeing that I even had the chat logs. Shen Zhao finally lost his composure. Wenli, how could you be so terrifying? You were with me, yet you still didn't trust me. His remarks were utterly ridiculous. Shen Zhao, I told you, we've known each other for 2 years. When we first got together, I made it clear, if you ever lost interest, you could just say so. I wouldn't cling to you. But you wanted to have your cake and eat it too. You think playing the field is some kind of accomplishment, don't you? Thank goodness it's over between us. Shen Zhao's face flushed red. How did you find out? It's almost laughable. In my line of work as a restorer, I never wear any scent. I'm afraid it might affect the ancient texts. That's why I'm very particular about smells. From the very first day we were together, I told Shen Zhao, who's in the same profession, and he agreed without hesitation. But one day, Shen Zhao came home with the cloying scent of Zhao Jingyi's perfume clinging to him, completely unaware. Finding out the truth was bad enough, but to learn it was actually perfume, Shen Zhao couldn't take it. Wenli, you're always like this, so calm about everything, as if nothing matters to you at all. At first, there was really nothing going on between me and her. I just wanted to see how jealous you'd get, but you didn't react at all. It's too late for words now, and I don't want to hear any more of his nonsense. The police are about to take them all away now. Zhao Jingyi panicked. No, that's not it. That's not how it is. It's all Shen Zhao's fault, nothing to do with me. Her only response was the cold embrace of handcuffs. 7 Then, in a blur, Shen Zhao suddenly rushed in front of me. I don't know when he got a dagger, but he pressed it right against my neck. Don't any of you come closer. One more step and I'll stab her. Shen Zhao, don't do anything stupid. The artifacts haven't left the country yet. If you come clean now, there's still a chance. Shen Zhao's eyes turned bloodshot. It was this woman. Zhao Jingyi brought her boss to find me. She said if I cooperated and made a few more sales, I'd have all the money I needed. I only make 6,000 yuan a month at the repair shop. How many years am I supposed to work here just to support my family? Wenli, you always say I'm too eager for quick results, lacking patience. But if I just sit around waiting at the Restoration Academy, how long will it take before I can finally marry you? Everything I've done has been for our future. How could you treat me like this? Shen Zhao was in hysterics. She really seemed to have snapped hearing him say that. I couldn't help but find it rather laughable. I'd actually have some respect for you if you just honestly admitted to being greedy and lustful. But this, unbelievable. Shen Zhao, you loved me. I highly doubt it. How could you say that? Wenli, you're actually doubting my sincerity. The first time I saw you, you were completely absorbed in that ancient painting. You were so focused, I couldn't take my eyes off you. How could there be such a wonderful woman in this world? I fell for you. But all you ever saw was restoration work. I'd ask you out, and you'd excitedly talk about solvents and techniques, things I had no interest in. I just wanted to be with you. Couldn't you have spared a glance for me? I said let's get married. You said not yet. I know you women just want a home. So I thought of dealing in stolen artifacts. That way I'd have money to spend, and with money, I could truly have you all to myself. But you've changed, he shouted furiously. You've become colder and colder, less and less concerned. Even when I hang out and go on dates with Zhao Jingyi, you don't even bother to ask. He was trembling with excitement, the dagger repeatedly tracing back and forth across my neck. A moment later, I felt a sharp sting on my neck. Shen Zhao, it hurts a bit. Shen Zhao was taken aback for a split second when, in an instant, a nearby officer reacted swiftly and fired a shot that struck his wrist. He let out a sharp cry, the dagger clattering to the ground. He was pinned down, and I was left shaken to the core. The team leader stared at me, his lips moving silently. Shaozhen tried to step forward to check on me, but was handcuffed by the police and taken away. The entire restoration facility is undergoing inspection. When the news broke, the entire internet was in an uproar. I saw it outside the institute earlier and thought it was just some gossip, but it turned out to be absolutely mind-blowing. What on earth is going on? In short, that scumbag Ning was broke, fell for a honey trap, not only trafficked cultural relics but even set up his own girlfriend to take the fall. Never thought his real girlfriend would be so straightforward. She'd figured him out ages ago, reported him with solid proof, and walked away clean. By the way, the Restoration Institute isn't exactly a good crowd either. They stole that girl's self-developed restoration solution and kicked her out. That's disgusting. No wonder they produce such scumbags. There isn't a single decent person in the entire rehabilitation center except the female lead. While I was Recuperating in the hospital, the entire Restoration Institute came under fire online, and no one was spared. Everyone had to conduct a self-review. Anyone who had any personal connection with Xin Zhao was rounded up. Not a single one was spared, but none of that had anything to do with me anymore. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, the captain came to see me at the entrance. He had been demoted 3 ranks and arrived with his replacement 8. When he saw me, he looked a bit embarrassed. Wenli, it was all my fault before. Our Restoration Institute still needs talents like you. What do you think? I raised my hand to stop him. I've received an offer from the Capital Institute of Cultural Restoration and plan to take the position there, putting everything else aside. I just can't get over what happened before. I've always prided myself on being diligent and never holding back. I've shared every detail of the restoration work with them. As for the solution, it's mainly because it's not very stable, and developing it is quite troublesome. I didn't give it to them because it could even cause allergies, but I never expected they'd hold a grudge against me. Hearing me say that, the captain fell silent, his mouth slightly agape. He knew all too well how the Restoration Institute's past actions had left me utterly disillusioned. There was no point in saying anything more after this incident. The entire Restoration Institute is likely to face the risk of reorganization, and without me, it might even disband soon. He grew agitated. Wenli, leaving your hometown is no small matter. You must think this through carefully. I know the Restoration Institute let you down before, but after this incident, the higher-ups are taking it very seriously. I've also brought back this contract. If you're willing, you'll have the final say on everything. It's a permanent employment contract, and nothing like what happened before will ever occur again. Please, reconsider. Our Restoration Institute has taken a heavy blow this time. If you join, even I would have to step aside for you. Hearing this, I was at a loss for words. It was too late for all this now. It wasn't that I hadn't considered it before, but the team leader had always been rather critical of my presence. I get along well with the team, but he always finds opportunities to put me down, afraid that I might take his spot. I just wanted to focus on the restoration and nothing else, but I had no choice but to spend my time battling him and others. This living situation is driving me up the wall. They still want to go for now, but it's just a temporary convenience. Once the usefulness is gone, all those past grievances will come flooding back. I was just about to speak when Olju arrived, and I felt a wave of relief when they saw Olju. The team leader and the others were taken aback. Olju chuckled and said, if one place doesn't want you, another will. This time, you're the ones who pushed talent out the door yourselves. So don't stand here begging for forgiveness. If it were me, I'd never forgive you in this lifetime. How much energy does a person have to dedicate to their work in one life? What kind of person is Wenli? You knew perfectly well, yet you cast her aside for so-called fame and fortune. You've sacrificed the greater good for a minor gain. Let this one go. But with such poor judgment, you still want her to come back. If it were me, I'd be too ashamed to even ask. My words drained the color from their faces. I simply gave him a nod and got straight into Mr. Yu's car. I must thank Mr. Yu again. He rushed back from out of town to personally authenticate the ancient painting, which cleared my name even though I was well prepared. Mr. Yu's authority on the matter was undeniable. Wenli, now that you're at the Beijing Cultural Restoration Institute, don't worry. Everyone here speaks their mind freely, and they have excellent methods to share. We'll learn from each other. I have high hopes for you. May your journey in restoration work go from strength to strength. Thank you, Mr. Yu. Mr. Yu picked me up from the hospital today. Firstly, he acted as a bridge, facilitating a collaboration between me and the Cultural Restoration Institute. Secondly, that vase from before has been recovered, and the entire ring of artifact traffickers involved has been rounded up. As for Xin Zhao, he was caught transporting 3 cultural relics. Given the enormous value involved, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Olju couldn't help but sigh deeply when talking about him. What a shame. 9. When I first got serious with Xin Zhao, Elder Yu thought the young man was decent. With 2 young people at the Restoration Institute, if they could make it work, they'd stay on, bringing stability to the whole team's operations. It's a shame Xin Zhao couldn't hold on to his principles after all. He threw away his integrity for the sake of a Zhao Jingyi, but frankly, I couldn't care less. Report to the capital in 1 week. Here are your letter of recommendation and your official appointment letter. After getting out of the car, Olju handed the items to me. Thank you, Olju. I won't let you down. Clutching my things, I watched Olju walk away into the distance. I let out a long, deep sigh. Everything was just right. My hand is almost back to normal. Another week, and it should be as good as new. Looking at the job offer in my hand, I smiled. I've been wanting to see the artifacts in the capital for a long time. This time, I won't let this opportunity slip away. I was just about to head back when I got a call from the police saying Shen Zhao wanted to see me. He'd been sentenced to life in prison, but had been making trouble in jail, threatening to kill himself unless he could meet with me. They had no choice but to call me. I hesitated for a moment but still went over, and when I arrived, I was somewhat taken aback. It had only been a week, but he had already lost a noticeable amount of weight. The oversized prison uniform hung loosely on his frame, looking almost hollow. He had no beard, but his eyes were sunken, and his spirit was clearly somewhat dejected. The moment he saw me, his dull eyes lit up instantly, and he hurriedly rose to his feet. Wenli, you're finally here. I nodded and sat right down. What's up, Wenli? I know I was wrong. Shen Zhao, my time is limited. I'll be leaving for Beijing soon. If it's not urgent, please get to the point. Don't waste my time here with pointless excuses. Shen Zhao was stunned. You're going to Beijing? Why? I couldn't help but laugh at that. Since when do I need your permission to go anywhere? That's not what I meant. I just think you shouldn't leave me behind. You should wait for me. If I behave well, life imprisonment could be reduced to a fixed sentence, and I might get parole. Please wait for me. Okay, please. Shen Zhao's behavior left me utterly bewildered. Have you lost your mind? You actually expect me to wait for you? Why not? Why, you belong to me, and everything I've done has been for you. How could you just leave me behind and go off somewhere else on your own? Seeing him like that, I immediately felt a sense of relief. Shen Zhao, I don't regret for a second that we loved each other, but now that I know you'd abandon everything for money, that you're blinded by greed, I can't love you anymore. Don't even think about it. Focus on reforming yourself and reflecting in there. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Zhao Jingyi got pregnant and had a miscarriage, but the child wasn't yours. Shen Zhao was stunned upon hearing this. What did you say? What I mean is, while she was with you, she was also seeing other people. At the rehab center, you weren't the only man in her life. My words shattered him instantly. Shen Zhao never expected this scene. His eyes reddened involuntarily. This can't be. That bitch ruined me. I'll kill her. Seeing him like this, I couldn't help but shake my head. Shen Zhao was pitifully naive. In this world, nothing is truly impossible, and there's nothing those people wouldn't do. To drag someone down with them, they'd pay any price. He just can't tell the difference himself. 10. I shook my head and stood up to leave, but Shen Zhao cried out, Wenli, we promised we'd never be apart in this lifetime. You can't just abandon me. Wenli, come back. I paid it no mind and walked out of the prison gates. The sunlight outside was just right. Shen Zhao and I were like two parallel lines, destined to drift further and further apart, never to cross paths again in this lifetime. During this time, I sold the apartment I had here. I threw away all of Shen Zhao's things, ensuring there would be no more memories left of our past. On the day I left, I saw Xiaozing downstairs. He used to be my apprentice. I understood, really, why he hadn't chosen to stay with me. I've heard him complain to people more than once, saying I'm too strict and too stingy sometimes. Even the smallest detail can make or break the restoration. Xiaozing tends to be careless, so I patiently guide him every step of the way. Maybe he just finds me annoying. Still, it worked out fine. Although he didn't have much financial dealings with Shen Zhao, he was still affected and ended up getting fired. Xiaozing looked at me and couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Sister Wenli, I was completely in the wrong. I shook my head. No path a person chooses at a crossroads is truly wrong. Every man for himself, or heaven and earth will destroy him. If I were in that position, I might do the same thing, but first, I'd ask myself, can I live with it? Upon hearing my words, Xiaozing immediately burst into tears. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, she sobbed. They said that with you at the Restoration Institute, no one else would ever have a chance to advance. I don't want to be an apprentice for the rest of my life. Xiaozing, you're still young. I hope you can keep your original aspirations in the future. Goodbye. Xiaozing watched my retreating figure and burst into tears, and with my luggage in hand, I walked down the road, continuing to chase my dreams. End of text. That's all for the first story. Stay tuned. The next one is even more exciting. 5 years ago, I took a liking to the male student my father was sponsoring, so they went to great lengths to groom him into a big shot in Beijing's elite circles. He ended up having an affair with the female student I was funding. The female student, determined to take my place completely, had me kidnapped and forced me to watch as she and her accomplice became intimate right in front of me. Unable to bear the humiliation, I jumped to my death from a building. When I opened my eyes again, I was back 5 years earlier, On the day I'd visited the school this time, I pretended not to notice the charm he was deliberately exuding. I turned my head and looked at the melancholy boy sitting alone in the corner, only I knew that he would one day become the true power broker of the Beijing elite circle. 1 Ying. If you get bored, feel free to go explore on your own later. If you're tired, just ask Uncle Juan to drive you home. Looking at the familiar campus and hearing the same words as in my past life, I realized I had been reborn. I was reborn 5 years ago, on the very day of the school tour. Just then, a middle-aged man jogged over with a smile and shook my father's hand. Mr. Su, I've long heard of your esteemed reputation. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come. You're too kind, Dean. I'm just doing my part. While Dad was talking to the headmaster, a ball suddenly flew over. I instinctively dodged, but it ended up hitting the headmaster instead. The dean scolded, Chinyu, what are you doing? Chinyu didn't seem to expect me to dodge. I'm sorry, Dean, I didn't mean to. Chinyu hung his head nervously, his ears burning red from the scolding. In my previous life, it was exactly like this. He was playing ball with classmates and happened to hit me by sheer coincidence. He immediately picked me up and rushed me to the infirmary. I was touched by his thoughtfulness and gentleness. Later, watching him shine on the basketball court, that innate confidence and radiant energy sparked in me, for the first time, a genuine desire to get to know a guy. After that, I sponsored him all the way through his graduation, his studies abroad, and even sent him to pursue business management. I spent 5 years, during which I pulled out all the stops to groom Chinyu into a major player within the Beijing elite circle, yet all I got in return was his betrayal. Not only did he cheat on me with the female student I was sponsoring, but he also drove the Su family into bankruptcy, and in the end, I was forced to jump off a building too. This time, facing the same situation, I decided to strike first. Hey, it's great that you're getting some exercise during breaks, but you really shouldn't be playing ball on the roadside. It's way too dangerous. Luckily, it was the dean this time. If it had been some other petite girl, she might have ended up in the hospital. Then, turning to the director, I said, as a member of management, it's your responsibility to eliminate any such risks. The director nodded repeatedly, completely convinced by my suggestion. Yes, Miss Su is absolutely right. I'll have him go play somewhere else right away. With that, he promptly shooed him away. Despite all his reluctance, Chinyu had no choice but to leave. Before he went, he even made a point of looking at me, as if he'd never imagined I would react this way. It's rather laughable, really. I remember in our past life, he would go to all sorts of lengths to cheer me up, telling me different jokes every day. The cornier the pickup lines, the sweeter they were, and the more he loved to say them. I have never been at such a loss for words as I am now. After he left, the dean and my father resumed their conversation. Your sponsorship this time has been an immense help to our university. We've wanted to renovate the laboratory building for a long time, but the project was too large and funding was never secured. We are truly grateful for Mr. Su's assistance. To be honest, beyond the facilities and teaching buildings, our university still faces many challenges. However, we will do our utmost to support every student who is eager to learn. It's really a pity about that student just now. His academic performance, personality, and physical fitness are all top-notch. However, his family background isn't very good, and he was admitted on special grounds back then solely because of his excellent grades. I heard Mr. Su has sponsored quite a few students in the past. I was wondering if he might be interested in doing something similar this time. It was precisely because of the dean's strong recommendation that Dad decided to fund Chinyu in the previous life, and from that moment on, I held him in high esteem. The wrong choice started right here, and of course I won't make the same mistake again. I turned to look at a boy sitting alone in the corner. He was so quiet it seemed he didn't belong in this world, exuding an air of cool melancholy. He's the one who might help the Su family in the future. I pointed at him and said, I think he's just fine. 3. The dean was left at a loss by my question. Miss Su, you may not be fully aware of this student's character. He is arrogant, has poor conduct, and shows little interest in learning. Spending money on him would truly be a waste. I shot back, is his family well off? The dean shook his head. Exactly, opportunities should be equal for everyone. We shouldn't rule someone out just because they have poor character or don't like to study. Besides, that's just your opinion. As the dean, shouldn't you want what's best for every student? The dean lowered his head, silenced by the retort. With poor grades and a modest family background, how could he possibly have gotten into Kyoto University without a hitch? Father had clearly come to the same conclusion. His face darkened. Fine, if that's what Ying wants, we'll go with him. The dean summoned Jiang Yanqiao and the other two to his office, not expecting Chinyu to tag along. He looked at me with a sense of grievance, as if asking why I hadn't chosen him. Chinyu, I didn't call you. Why are you here too? Chinyu acted as if he hadn't heard the dean's words, rushing right up to me on his own, clearly trying to get my attention. Miss Su, I've got top grades in all subjects and I love sports too, so why didn't you pick me? His eyes widened, revealing a hint of melancholy in their depths. How dare he even have the nerve to ask why? Just looking at his expression, it somehow felt like he'd been reborn. In contrast, Jiang Yanxia's attitude was one of detached indifference, as if the matter had nothing to do with him. I said with a cold expression, it's just that some people need it more than you do, that's all. I continued, if I'm not mistaken, those shoes of yours are a limited edition, aren't they're quite hard to come by on the market. Chinyu stiffened for a moment and explained, these are just knockoffs I bought, they're not worth much. I stared at him for a long time, until he guiltily lowered his head. We've lived together for so long. I know him too well. He's very concerned about saving face, especially when meeting important people. He wanted to quickly get others to notice him, so he started with his favorite sport. He must have really splurged on these shoes. He really will stop at nothing to get what he wants. Besides, this was the dean's decision. If you have any issues, take it up with him privately. The dean immediately understood and told him to leave at once. Only after he had left did I properly take notice of the man before me. He has chiseled features, deep-set eyes, and a prominent nose, like a general who stepped right out of the pages of a book. I finally understand why Chinyu is always jealous of him and can't stand the sight of him. It must be because Jiang Yanxiao has such an honest face. For alright, let's not overthink it, all of you, sign the contract. Jiang Yanxiao, who had been lost in thought, suddenly snapped back to reality, his gaze landing squarely on me. Are you sure? His voice was low and gravelly. I nodded with a smile. From what I remember, he's a real business-savvy guy. Give him a chance, and the possibilities are endless. It's just such a shame that someone so talented ended up killing someone at the peak of their career. His status at the time even surpassed that of Chinyu. He should have had a bright future ahead of him, yet he ended up spending the rest of his life behind bars. That really shouldn't have happened. Miss Su, this student falls short in every aspect compared to the previous student. Mr. Chin, are you sure you want to choose him? The dean wanted to say a few more words, but I felt uneasy. Everyone says Dean Zhang only has the student's best interests at heart, but it seems that's not quite accurate. The dean quickly explained, that's not what I meant. I was just concerned you might not have the full picture and could be misled. Dad, I'm tired. I rested my head on my father's shoulder and let out a long string of yawns. Seeing this, Dad's heart ached. Alright, I'll have someone draft a contract and send it over. If there's nothing else, we'll be on our way. We had barely stepped outside when Chinyu fell into step behind us. Miss Su, I don't understand. Dad, however, laughed upon hearing this. Well, classmate, shouldn't it be us who are supposed to be confused? Chinyu realized he'd been rude, so he could only watch helplessly as I walked away. Dad shook his head. Kids these days, they never focus on what really matters, always getting distracted by trivial things. I stayed silent because I wasn't going to let him get anything more out of me. 5. I'm the only daughter of the Su family and also a late-born child, so my parents found it especially precious and showered me with double love. Because of this, my health has never been great, which made me introverted since childhood and left me with very few friends. It wasn't until I met Chinyu later on that I truly felt he was my salvation. Who would have thought that every single one of our meetings was meticulously calculated by him? Standing by the window, gazing at the towering buildings before me, I felt a sense of something precious being regained. President Su, Peking University has an event this Thursday. Would you like to go and have a look? I stared out at the scenery, but remained silent for a long while. Lu Xian, how long have you been with me? To answer you, President Su, from the time you started as an intern at Su Group until now. I nodded. Assistant Lu, going forward, we should participate more in charitable activities like this. Please decline any dinner invitations that aren't work-related for me. Lu Xian hesitated for a moment, looking somewhat puzzled. But President Su, weren't you previously uninterested in these sorts of things? I explained. My father has been involved in charity work for years, so naturally, as his daughter, I can't fall behind. In the past, my health wasn't great, and Dad was always worried I'd overexert myself. He only entrusted me with simple tasks, but he also feared my quiet nature and that prolonged isolation would make me ill, so he often arranged social dinners for me. I don't need that anymore. After handling the minor tasks at hand, I've been constantly busy with work, either in meetings or on business trips. Life has been quite comfortable until Chinyu barged into my office. Miss Su, I'd like to talk to you. I was a bit annoyed. How can anyone just walk in here? Security, get him out of here right now. Chin Yu rushed forward. Miss Su, please give me 3 minutes, just 3 minutes. He then continued, I can offer you greater benefits. As long as you support me, I will certainly not let you down. Please give me a chance to prove myself. He was undeniably smart, knowing exactly what kind of personality Su Shanying admired, but what he didn't know was that the old Su Shanying had already been killed by him. Besides, I know exactly what he's made of. The only reason he got so powerful is because I was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. Time's up. Security. The security guards promptly dragged him out. I called the front desk. From now on, no one gets in without an appointment. 6. Yet Chin Yu showed no sign of restraint whatsoever. That afternoon, I got the news that Jiang Yanxiao had been beaten, so I hurried over. He even went out of his way to find a doctor to see him. At least it was just a flesh wound. His body bore not only fresh wounds but also numerous old ones. He may not say it out loud, but I know exactly how he feels. Chin Yu is taking out all his anger on Jiang Yanxiao. Chin Yu really doesn't know his own strength. You've got quite a lot of patience. Anyone else would have already gone at him. Jiang Yanxiao gave a bitter smile. What can I do? I'm still counting on graduating on time. So what are your plans after graduation? I suppose I need to earn some money to pay off my debts first, but never mind about me. How did you manage to get here so quickly? Miss Su, naturally, I wouldn't tell him that I had people planted within the school. I just happened to be passing by and wanted to see how you've been these past few days. That's when I heard you were injured. He bought it completely. I never asked Miss Su why she chose me. After all, my reputation at this school isn't exactly the best. Of course I know why he's got such a bad reputation, thanks to Chin Yu spreading rumors everywhere. Oh, it's nothing, just a small favor. Jiang Yanxiao seemed to believe it again. Miss Su, there wouldn't happen to be any additional conditions, would there? 7. I smiled at him. Of course, if you're willing, that could certainly be arranged. Jiang Yanxiao cleared his throat awkwardly, deliberately changing the subject. Why didn't you come to the school anniversary the other day? Miss Su, I'm getting on in years. These events for young people aren't really for me. A sudden silence fell, and I noticed the tips of his ears turning red. It made me want to tease him, almost without thinking. Suddenly struck by a thought, she reached to part his collar. He was undoubtedly taken aback by that move. Miss Su, please mind your manners. I just wanted to take a look at your peace buckle. He froze, his face a mask of confusion. How did you know I have a peace buckle? Don't you remember? I saw it last time and thought it was unusual, so I took a closer look. Just don't lose the thing. Alright. Although Jiang Yanxia didn't understand, he complied. As long as the peace knot isn't with Chin Yu, nothing he does will matter. The car pulled up smoothly in front of Jiang Yanxia's house. Before getting out of the car, I handed him a few materials on topics like economics and management. He specifically reminded him to read it carefully. I never expected him to flat out refuse. Miss Su, you may not be aware, but I have no interest in this. Then just tear it up for fun. Then I slammed the car door shut and drove off. 8. Turns out, I still underestimated Chin Yu's capabilities that day. My father came to find me. Hey Ying, do you have any plans this weekend? An uneasy feeling suddenly came over me. Then Dad went on, the Song family has finally found their long-lost child. Do you have time to go deliver a gift on my behalf? Suddenly there was a loud buzzing in my head, and my thoughts came to a complete standstill. This is earlier than I expected. In his previous life, Chin Yu revealed the truth at old Master Song's 90th birthday celebration, complete with a paternity test, so no one could doubt it. With a swarm of media present, he used public pressure to force the Song family to acknowledge his connection, a move I was the one who taught him. It's just that the big birthday is still about 10 days away. He was so impatient, it seems he simply couldn't wait any longer. As an old friend, it's only natural that I'd give him a truly special gift. I want him to hit rock bottom and be reviled by everyone at the peak of his life. That day, I brought many prominent figures from the Beijing social circle to offer their congratulations. Not only that, but they also brought quite a few friends from the media since they had only recently been reunited. The Song family was not yet ready to make the news public, so when they saw the media arrive uninvited, they were completely stunned. Only Chin Yu was brimming with delight. He hurried to my front, saying, Ying, you're here. I knew you couldn't bear to leave me. Our actions were quickly snapped by reporters. Even the other members of the Song family never imagined we were connected. I straightened his tie for him, creating an intensely charged, ambiguous atmosphere. I want everyone to misunderstand the nature of our relationship. 9. Just as expected, within half a day, major financial platforms were all reporting on the collaboration between the Song and Su families. Consequently, Chin Yu solidified his standing within the Song family. That young man is quite shrewd in his methods. Ying, you should stay away from someone like him. Upon seeing the report, father understood the situation immediately. In my previous life, Yu manipulated me to become stronger, secretly transferring shares of the Su Group into his own name. In the end, the Su Group went bankrupt due to his improper dealings. When my father heard the news, he was so furious he couldn't catch his breath and died on the spot. I looked at my dad, who had aged so much, and my eyes welled up involuntarily. I grabbed him in a tight hug. Don't worry, Dad, I know what I'm doing. With the past still vivid in my mind, how could I possibly let Yu off easy? I deliberately gave Yu the cold shoulder for a few days, and sure enough, he started to panic, searching for me all over the world until he showed up at the bar. Hey, I always said you were as unromantic as a cycad that never blooms. What, finally got yourself caught in the act? My friend teased. I swirled the glass of red wine in my hand and took a small, delicate sip. He suddenly snorted with contempt. He's not even worthy, you have no idea. I'm so sick of looking at his face every day. Just look at anyone dancing in this pool. They're all better looking than him. His friend pressed on. So, do you regret it? Regret doesn't even come into it. I never agreed to be with him in the first place. He's just been clinging to me. A one-sided, shameless infatuation. The door opened, revealing Yu with a face as pale as a sheet and red-rimmed eyes, looking like a wounded bird. He walked cautiously to my side and asked, unwilling to accept it, "It can't be. Tell me it's not true." Seeing that I remained silent, he grew agitated. "Please don't be so cruel to me. If I've done anything wrong, I'll change." I lifted my eyelids lazily and gave him an indifferent glance. "All right then, go on, give us a dance, then I'll think about it." Asking the young master of the Song family to dance, isn't that a bit inappropriate? Although, I must admit, I'm quite curious to see if young master Song's dancing really is worse than those men out there. The friends all started jeering and egging him on, making Yu's face flush with humiliation. After all, he's a public figure now. He can't afford to lose face. 10. This is boring. I'm out. Put it on my tab. I got up and walked toward the door, Yu following closely behind. "Why are you humiliating me like this?" His throat went dry. He drew a sharp breath, his eyes brimming with hurt. I said nothing, just gave him an icy glare that made him distinctly uneasy because in my past life, this was exactly how he treated me. I remember that time he got drunk and I went to pick him up. I heard him with my own ears, laughing with the others about my age, saying that even without knowing how old I am, just looking at my face, I could pass for his mother. He's now successful in his career, all thanks to his own hard work and knowledge. But he forgot, I was once the toast of Beijing's elite, the heiress countless men dreamed of winning. But after marrying him, she stopped managing her company and spent all day at home taking care of her in-laws, with endless housework every day, leaving no time at all to dress up for herself. Besides, I'm only 5 years older than him, yet he treats me like an unattractive, aging woman. Now it's just about letting him taste the humiliation of being shamed in public for once. Jiang Yanqiao walked slowly toward me under an umbrella, and we began to leave on foot, unwilling to let it go. Yu called out from behind. "Do you have any idea? The man standing before you has killed someone before." Jiang Yanqiao froze in place, her fists clenched, lips pressed tightly together, face pale. In that moment, we both knew for certain that we had been reborn with our memories intact. So what? That doesn't change a thing about what I'm going to do, young Master Song. You'd better watch your words and actions. Don't let that hard-won status of yours slip away one day. After delivering that warning, I took Jiang Yanqiao by the arm and left. 11. I've gathered a lot of materials and given them all to Jiang Yanqiao. I know they will be of great help to him in the future. Even though he says he's not interested, I know he'll read them. But what worries me most right now is whether he'll repeat the same mistakes from his past life. Jiang Yanqiao frowned, looking visibly displeased. "What's the matter?" Still thinking about what just happened, he shook his head. "Yu is crazy. Of course, a madman's words can't be trusted. He always wears a smile, but I know his heart is fragile." Translation: I walked back home to find my dad sitting on the sofa. He'd clearly seen the news about me and Yu, and his expression turned grim. "I've heard about what happened between you and Yu. I'm getting old, son. This company will have to be yours one day. I just worry that when I'm gone, there'll be no one left to look after you." I threw my arms around him. "You'll live to be 100, Dad. I know you will." He patted my head. "That Yu, he's a shrewd one, with layers you can't see. You need to know when to cut ties. But that Yanqiao, now there's a fine young man, he's going places. If you were with him, he might just be the one to keep you safe in the future. Dad, I don't want there to be any impurity in my partner. It wouldn't be good for either of us. Yes, I'm old now, and I can't manage things anymore." He then got up and went back to his room. Watching his slow, retreating figure, I felt a lump form in my throat. "Dad, I'm sorry I let you down, but this is the only way I can protect the Su family, and protect you. 12 I was in a meeting that day when I got a call saying something had happened at Jiang Yanxiao's house. By the time I arrived, Jiang Yanxiao was standing there dazed and dejected, looking like a pitiful little lost soul. I looked at the blood on his hands, afraid he might do something reckless. He chuckled, almost playfully. You're here. I've been listening to you and didn't fight back. After comforting him, I walked over to Mr. Jiang. Didn't I tell you not to come see him? Looks like you still didn't listen to me. Jiang's father played dumb. Who are you? I don't know you at all. A few days ago, worried that the situation at Jiang Yanxiao's home might affect him, I went to see his father alone. I gave him some money and told him to stay away from Jiang Yanxiao and his mother. Now that he's lost all the money, he's refusing to take responsibility. I let out an amused huff. If I tell the police that you robbed me and are harassing me, you were the one who gave me that money, and who's going to back you up? Given that we're not related, who do you think they'll believe, you or me? You dare to scheme against me, you bitch. I'm his father. It's only right and proper that he shows me respect. Suddenly, I found him rather pathetic in a way that was tinged with shame. I slowly walked toward him, leaned close to his ear, and whispered in a voice only the two of us could hear, are you sure? If it turns out not to be the case, you'll be held legally responsible. Those people aren't as easygoing as I am. I have an agreement here. You know what will happen if you don't sign it. After taking care of things at Jiang Yanxia's home, he went to discuss the partnership with peace of mind. I visited all the tech companies you asked me to. Everything seemed to be going smoothly at first, but when it came time to sign the contracts, they all suddenly backed out. The business world is a battlefield. You never know the outcome until the very last moment. We had just stepped out of the car when we saw Qin Yu coming out of Xinjiang Tech, accompanied by a young woman who looked like a college student. The moment I clearly saw her face, my eyes widened in shock. It's her, Xiaowan, 13. I didn't expect them to meet so soon. As far as I remember, they were supposed to meet after graduation, but it's less than half a year away now. Back when Xiaowan was first looking for a job, she applied to the Song Group. With her outstanding personality and looks, she immediately caught Qin Yu's eye and became his personal secretary. Looking back now, it's clear they had already known each other. I was the only one left completely in the dark. The CEO of Xinjiang Tech is a friend of my father's, but now Qin Yu has beaten us to the punch. Qin Yu must have offered a very attractive deal to snatch it away. It seems there's no point in me competing for it anymore. Let's go. I noticed Jiang Yanxiao stealing a few extra glances at Xiaowan. Oh, you two know each other. Don't know. You were staring at someone you don't even know. I thought maybe they were just that attractive, and you couldn't help but glance a few extra times. Her nose was noticeably asymmetrical, clearly the result of cosmetic surgery. Then he went on to say, the reason she's so memorable to me is that she pursued me. She made a bet with her friends about how long it would take to win me over. Well, actually, it's not surprising when you think about it. After all, Jiang Yanxiao is the famously aloof beauty of Beijing University. Everyone wants a second glance, so why didn't you agree? I don't even like her, yet she's got the same nostrils as everyone else. How come they ended up on top of her head? After being rejected, they went around badmouthing me, saying I'm no good and that I'm full of problems. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Have you ever considered that the reason Qin Yu targets you is precisely because of these things? It's only natural he targets me. After all, I'm better looking than him and my grades are better too. It suddenly dawned on me that his skin was even thicker than Qin Yu's. It's actually quite endearing to see him speak so seriously. We get along very well now. Nothing like the awkwardness when we first met. We even joke around sometimes and talk about our future plans. 14 But the sudden scandal has thrust me back into the eye of the storm. President Su, public opinion is getting out of control. Everyone is saying you're too timing and playing the field. Prepare the PR response. This wave of negative press was definitely fueled by paid trolls. Find the ringleader and have our lawyers send a cease and desist. I knew, of course, that this was Qin Yu's doing. I found him right away. You're even faster than I expected. You were waiting for me, weren't you? I'm here. Let's hear your terms. Qin Yu handed me a cup of freshly brewed tea. As you can see, the whole internet knows about our relationship now. If news about you and another man were to break at this moment, it would likely damage the Su family's interests. I suddenly let out a laugh. Qin Yu, it seems to me you're worried about your own standing in the Song family, aren't you? Therefore, a marriage alliance is our only, and most secure, solution. I will have all the news articles retracted immediately and clear your name, and when necessary, I will always have your back. I sipped my tea absent-mindedly. Sure, Qin Yu thought he must have misheard, as he never expected me to agree so readily. After staying for another half hour, I returned to the office, but there was a woman sitting in my seat. Mr. Su, she said she's your future mother-in-law, so we didn't dare to stop her. I shot Lu Xian a cold glance, and he guiltily lowered his head. In the blink of an eye, I was standing right in front of her. Madam, if you do not vacate my seat immediately, I will have to call security. I locked eyes with her calculating gaze, and a wave of déjà vu from my past life washed over me. She was dressed in the latest fashion and had her hair styled, but still couldn't shake off her shabby appearance. We're practically family now. Surely you wouldn't actually kick me out, would you? Family? I don't recall having a relative like you. She shook her head. My son is Chinyu. You're practically my future daughter-in-law. I've seen the news about you too. I let out a cold laugh. She was exactly the same as in my past life, just as old-fashioned and superstitious. I remember in my past life, after I had a miscarriage, my mother-in-law decided I was cursed or haunted by something unclean. She brought in a Taoist priest to perform an exorcism. That's when my health took a turn for the worse, and to this day, my head aches terribly whenever it rains. Looking back now, it really wasn't worth it. Oh, you're sure your son is Chinyu? But I seem to recall he's the heir of the Song family. If you're going to claim a connection, at least pick a plausible one. He really is my son. I'm not lying. I don't care what your relationship is. You've never had to prove anything to me. Besides, the outside world recognizes him as a member of the Song family. If you keep making a nuisance of yourself, don't blame me for being impolite. After sending her away, I picked up my phone and started scrolling through the trending topics. I have to admit, Chinyu is incredibly capable. He managed to scrub all of my dirty laundry completely clean. When Jiang Yanqiao found out I had agreed to Chinyu's proposal, we had our first big argument. 15 In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed, and I'd handed Chinyu 2 major projects in a row, instantly boosting his standing within the Song family. He vaulted into the position of the Song family heir. On my birthday, Chinyu proposed to me in public. Thus, the news of the marriage alliance between the Song and Su families topped the trending charts. On the eve of the engagement, Jiang Yanqiao burst in. He demanded, "You don't love him, why won't you come with me?" I deliberately turned my back to him. Feelings can grow over time. I'm asking you one last time, will you leave with me? Seeing my silence, Jiang Yanqiao was furious. He punched the wall, his knuckles bleeding as he finally left. The look he gave me was filled with sorrow and resentment. 3 months later, we held a grand wedding. Chinyu gazed at me with deep affection, and when the priest asked if we were willing, he answered I do without a moment's hesitation. Just as everyone was about to clap and cheer, a photo of Chinyu and Xia Wan'er kissing suddenly appeared on the screen. There are even videos as long as 8 minutes. For a moment, everyone was abuzz with discussion. At that moment, a man stepped forward and shouted, "He's a fraud. He's not the lost Song family child at all. I have the proof right here." He then presented the test report to the Song family. Old Mr. Song's face turned livid with rage, and without hesitation, he slapped Chinyu across the face. Chinyu stared in disbelief at the scene, then glanced at Song's father standing before him, utterly speechless for the moment. "Dad, I didn't do it. Someone is definitely framing me." Suddenly pointed at the same person again. "It must be that second brother resents my succession to the Song family legacy, which is why he's plotting to frame me, all to secure his own standing within the Song clan. Am I setting you up? Do you really think Dad doesn't know about all this? He just wants you to focus on being the rightful heir and not get your hopes up about anything else. You're the one who's forgotten all his teachings." Chinyu couldn't believe it. He staggered back 2 steps, utterly devastated. He tried to run, but I stopped him. The bodyguard stopped Xia Wan'er and pulled her forward. She dropped to her knees. "No, Chairman Song, please let me explain. There's absolutely nothing between me and Mr. Song. The Song family's conduct is truly disappointing. Mr. Song, this matter will be thoroughly pursued by the Su family." "Ying, let's go." Dad just pulled me away. Suddenly realizing what was happening, Chinyu cried out, "It was you, wasn't it? It had to be you. You're nothing but a venomous woman." Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control, Song's father personally handed Chinyu over to the police. 16 I walked alone beneath a breathtaking sunset. Suddenly, a figure began to approach me slowly. After Chinyu left, old Song sent Xia Wan'er away as well. Later, Chinyu's parents also came to the Song family to make a scene, demanding his release. Still furious, old Master Song naturally refused to let him go and ended up keeping him locked up for a while longer. "Did you know all along that you're actually the Song family's heir?" Jiang Yanqiao didn't shy away in the slightest. "When you asked about the peace buckle, I already had an inkling, but I don't want to bother him. Especially since he's never acknowledged me." That's right, though Song's father had known all along that Chinyu was an imposter, he chose not to expose him, and even let him take his place as heir. I'm also well aware that Mr. Song knew about the situation between Chinyu and Xia Wan'er from the very beginning, but chose to turn a blind eye. He knew that Chinyu wasn't truly part of the Song family, so any trouble he caused wouldn't reflect on them even as the heir. The real power still rested firmly with Mr. Song. That's something we understand better than anyone. Suddenly, Jiang Yanqiao looked at me with utmost seriousness, singing, if I were to ask you one more time, would you come with me this time, or, let me put it another way, would you be my girlfriend? Suddenly, a phone rang. Ying, come home quickly, your father, he's fading fast. My mind went blank, like a kite with its string cut. A dull roar filled my ears, drowning out everything else. By the time I rushed to the hospital, Dad was already gone. My heart turned to ashes. I just stared blankly ahead. I never imagined that even with a second chance at life, some things remain inevitable. No matter how hard I try to make amends, it's all in vain. I slowly closed my eyes, my eyelids trembling uncontrollably. Your father passed away from a sudden heart attack. His health had been deteriorating for some time before that, but he kept it from you because he didn't want you to worry. Clutching the report in my hands, I broke down in tears. If only I had found out sooner, maybe this wouldn't have happened to him. Jiang Yanqiao held me, whispering words of comfort. 17 Back at the office, sorting through my father's belongings, I gradually sank into deep thought. President Su, please accept my condolences. Assistant Liu, I heard the Song group tried to poach you recently. Liu Xian's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly explained, they did have that idea, but I flat out refused. I nodded, if you want to go, you're free to. Mr. Su, I don't understand, what did I do wrong? You disclosed my whereabouts to someone else. That's a form of leaking confidential information, wouldn't you say? Or are you planning to take this to court? No, Mr. Su, please give me another chance. I promise I'll never do that again. I truly know I was wrong. I did not forgive his actions, but in light of his hard work for the company, I merely dismissed him. After all, the Su Corporation cannot tolerate those who would betray their master for personal gain. After settling my father's affairs, I went to the police station. Seeing Qingyu in such a miserable state, I wasn't as happy as I had imagined. So, you two are actually together now. Go on, tell me, why did you take such an intense dislike to him from the very first moment you saw him? Anyone would be jealous of someone better than them, and you have the nerve to ask me why. He seemed to be full of questions. If you don't like me, why are you so willing to be linked with me in rumors? And why do you never bother to clear up those misunderstandings? I have never felt anything for you but hatred. A look of utter disdain crossed Qinyu's face, as if he had just heard the most ridiculous joke. Do you really think Jiang Yanqiao is any good? He's just like he was in his past life, a stubborn fool who insists on chasing impossible dreams, only to bring a wretched end upon himself. His words sent a jolt through me. What do you mean by that? You mean you didn't know? Seeing my bewildered expression, Qingyu burst into loud laughter. So what if you, Su Shanying, are so capable, you'll still end up alone in your old age? In that regard, how are you any different from me? Under my relentless questioning, I finally learned the truth. In our previous life, the reason Jiang Yanqiao was framed for murder was because my father, having sensed Qinyu's unreliability, secretly tasked Jiang Yanqiao with protecting me. This, unexpectedly, provoked Qinyu's resentment. So, he has been by my side through both lifetimes. I had just stepped outside when heavy snow began to fall. Jiang Yanqiao walked toward me, holding an umbrella. I believe this reunion was meant to be a twist of fate and a meeting of hearts. Epilogue. Jiang Yanqiao initially had no intention of returning to the Song family to acknowledge his roots. However, the thought of gaining greater power in the future prompted him to head back immediately. He was a quick learner by nature. In less than 3 months, he had already passed the heir selection process. Even though old Master Song was deeply dissatisfied with him, he couldn't withstand the pressure from everyone else and had no choice but to hand over the Song group to Jiang Yanqiao's management. In under half a year, under his leadership, the Song group soared to become a leading enterprise in the business world. A few days ago, Xia Wanner had someone reach out to me. I was puzzled. What did she want with you? She's in a psychiatric hospital now, put there personally by Song Run. She probably wanted me to get her out. So, I did the opposite. I cut off all her contact with the outside world. If she's sick, she needs proper treatment. I laughed, thinking he was still as childish as a kid, but I like it. That night, we stargazed together. If I hadn't come to see you that day, would you have never spoken to me again? I suddenly looked away from the intensity in his gaze. What day was it? I don't remember. That was the day we had our Cold War, the day we argued. Seeing him so serious, I couldn't bear to tease him anymore. Actually, even if you hadn't come to see me that day, I was planning to find you after I finished up work. Jiang Yanqiao feigned heartbreak. As expected, you love your work more than me. End of text. Story 2. I sent a message to my boyfriend. What are you doing right now? My boyfriend, Hua Shen, replied instantly. I'm at home, doing some cleaning. After that, he sent me a photo. It was a familiar room, with the windows clean and the table spotless. I didn't tell him that I had actually turned on the surveillance camera. He wasn't lying, he was indeed at home, busily working away. So, here comes the question. At this very moment, who is the other Huishin standing right in front of me? I discovered the other Huishin when I was walking out of the company building. He was inviting his friends to enter a cafe together. It was very strange. Didn't Huishin say that he would stay at home all day today and not go anywhere? I was just about to call out to him. Suddenly, a message popped up on WeChat. Huishin, some of the ingredients in the refrigerator have expired. Should I throw them away? I was surprised. Right now, yeah. I looked up at the Huishin in front of me, then I looked at the WeChat message. So, I asked the above question. The answer was obvious. Only one of them was the real Huishin. I pulled down the brim of my hat and sat down in a corner. Right away, I heard Huishin and his group of friends mention me. Brother Shin, are you really going to play tricks on Song Xingyu like this? You're so amazing, his friend said with a playful look. When you get tired of the relationship, you ask your twin brother to take your place. Aren't you afraid that Song Xingyu will find out? Huishin crossed his legs and said indifferently, she won't find out. Why not? Song Xingyu is just a total simp. She chased after me for 3 months at the beginning. Later, when I pretended to be poor, she obediently gave me all her salary so that I could play with cars and form a band. What else could she be but a simp? Do you expect a simp to notice anything? Everyone burst into laughter. So she still doesn't know that you're actually the second young master of the Yuja group, with so much wealth that you can't even spend it all. Huishin smiled knowingly. I'm just afraid that if she knows, she'll stick to me even more. Brother Shin, then why don't you just break up with her directly? If I break up with her, how can I make Yang jealous? Oh, so you still can't forget your ex-girlfriend? Everyone started teasing him. You really love Yang the most in the end. I think you and Yang are a perfect match. That Song Xingyu is just someone to have fun with. Nonsense. Huishin didn't refute. How can Song Xingyu be compared to Yang? After they laughed for a while, someone else asked, by the way, how did you convince your brother? He's usually serious and rigid. He doesn't seem like the type to agree to something like this. Huishin replied, I just said that if I pretended to be poor to deceive a little girl into a relationship and it was discovered, it would be bad for the reputation of the whole group. No wonder. Your brother only cares about the company's interests. So when are you going to dump Song Xingyu? Soon, Huishin said lazily. When Yang comes back to me, I'll dump Song Xingyu. Can you really get rid of her? She's as clingy as chewing gum. Just let my brother do it. He's the most suitable person to do such a heartless thing. You trust your brother that much? Huishin smiled with certainty. Of course, my brother. He's in his 20s and has never been with a woman. He's probably emotionless. Is that so? I lowered my eyes and touched the fresh hickey on my neck. I had actually noticed the changes in Huishin a long time ago. He liked playing with cars and being in a band. And he was usually carefree and casual, but half a month ago his personality suddenly became much quieter. He no longer went out excitedly every day and came back drunk. Sometimes, I could even see him holding a book and reading it seriously. This was too absurd. Huishin had never touched a book before. I told Huishin that he had changed. He just asked me in return, isn't this good? There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's even better, because I'm an ultimate appearance fanatic. It doesn't matter what Huishin becomes, as long as his face is still the same. I like him purely because of that face. Other than that, I'm indifferent to everything about him. If he can be more well-behaved, it actually suits me even better. So, I deliberately ignored his changes and hypnotized myself. What was Huishin's brother's name again? Right, Huiyan, the so-called rigid and serious perfect heir. I carried a bag of grapes and went home. The meal had already been cooked. There's your favorite spare ribs today, Huiyan said. Did you cook them yourself? Of course, I heard that as soon as Huiyan graduated, he started taking care of the family business. Compared to his younger brother's unrestrained behavior, he was the real chosen one, but those clean and slender hands were now doing the cleaning and cooking for this huge lie. I stared at him for a long time. Huiyan asked, what's wrong? Have you been working out recently? Why do you ask? He was still quite alert. The muscles on your upper arms seem to be more toned than before. He subconsciously retracted his arms. I just lifted some weights casually. Good, muscles are a man's best dowry. He was a bit helpless. But you said before that honesty is a man's best dowry. Then are you honest? Huiyan fell silent. I smiled and stuffed a peeled grape into his mouth. He ate it unexpectedly. Huiyan forgot his younger brother was allergic to grapes. This wasn't the first time Huiyan had revealed his true identity. Last night, I was drunk and acted coquettishly, asking for his love. Huiyan remained unmoved. I got angry and asked, what's wrong with you recently? You won't even let me touch you. You just recovered from a cold and can't stand being messed around with. You can't even satisfy your girlfriend's basic needs. What's the use of you? Be good. Wait a little longer. Wait for what? Break up. I'll find someone with a better body. No way. He subconsciously rejected it and hugged me from behind, as if stimulated by those words. Hui Yan kissed me fiercely. At the same time, his hand moved downwards in a daze. I looked up at him. There was a kind of crazy look that disregarded everything hidden in those calm eyes. It was as if he was breaking his own moral bottom line. Hui Yan didn't know his younger brother would never do such a thing that only pleased me unilaterally. Hui Shen had never had such a look in his eyes either. In the following week, Hui Yan and I maintained such a relationship. When I needed him, he would come to satisfy me, but we never took the last step. That night, I went into the bedroom early. At around 9 o'clock, Hui Yan's phone rang. He thought I was asleep and answered the phone directly in the living room. The bedroom door wasn't closed tightly. Brother, Hui Shen's voice came faintly. I need you to do me a favor. Break up with Song Xingyu for me. Hui Yan didn't respond. Half of his body was sitting in the shadow, looking imposing even without showing anger. This was the real him. The him who had taken off all his disguises. Brother, please, otherwise Yang Yang will keep crying. Hui Shen, is this how you treat Song Xingyu? What's there about treating her right or wrong? I was just having fun with her and making Yang Yang jealous. By the way, now that Yang Yang is unhappy, of course, I have to dump her. I can't do this for you. You'd better come over and apologize to her in person. Don't. Realizing that Hui Yan was angry, Hui Shen was also a bit scared. Brother, have you ever thought about what if Song Xingyu threatens to commit suicide? What? She loves me so much. If she jumps off a building after learning the truth and causes a death, we'll all be finished. She's not that kind of person. What if she is? Who can take the responsibility? That's a human life. Hui Shen's words were as smooth as ever. Anyway, I'm counting on you for this. Brother, break up with her quickly. I won't talk to you anymore. I'm going to comfort Yang Yang. I was watching the drama with great interest. Suddenly, the bedroom door was opened. Hui Yan stood at the door. His tall shadow enveloped me. You heard everything. Since things had come to this point, there was no point in hiding it anymore. I nodded with a smile. I heard it. Aren't you surprised? No. It seems you've known for a long time. Not that long ago. Just about a week ago. Although I tried my best to pretend that nothing had happened, Hui Yan still noticed. Who was he? A genius who had inherited the family business in his 20s. My changes couldn't escape his eyes, but the two of us still acted like this for a week. One didn't ask, and the other didn't say until this phone call came, and we couldn't hide it anymore. I apologize to you on behalf of Hui Shen. No need. I didn't like him that much anyway. Hui Yan was a bit surprised, but he didn't ask further. He just asked, how much money did he spend of yours during this time? I'll compensate you 10 times the amount. Okay, I'll send you my bank card number. Soon. I received a notification of the money being deposited. It was much more than 10 times the amount, but what I wanted was more than just this. Hui Yan, I have another request. Go ahead. Do you want to give it a try with me? Hui Yan was shocked. He seemed unable to believe his ears. I calmly took off my coat. The dim light outlined the curves of my body. I couldn't see Hui Yan's expression clearly, but I knew that his Adam's apple rolled up and down. Put your clothes on. You'll catch a cold. I directly hugged his waist. Stop talking so much. Don't you really want to give it a try? Just as Hui Yan, under my provocation, Hui Yan showed that look again, that calm and crazy look, as if he couldn't wait to tear apart morality and order, to destroy everything he had followed since he was a child. At first, I took the initiative. He didn't say a word, just looking at me with those dark eyes until I leaned close to his ear and called him sweetly, Hui Yan. The next second, he turned over and took the dominant position. Hui Yan, who had taken the initiative, changed completely. He was like a master. And also like a wild beast. He no longer hid the differences between himself and Hui Shen. As soon as he took off his coat, his muscular arms with prominent veins were revealed. I couldn't handle it and shed physiological tears, begging for mercy continuously. Hui Yan gently soothed me. I was a bit dazed. So, this kind of thing could be so enjoyable during the time I was with Hui Shen. What a miserable life I had led. We did it until midnight, and Hui Yan carried me to take a shower just then. The phone rang again. Hui Yan was a bit impatient. Who is it? Brother, it's me. What's wrong with your voice? Speak if you have something to say. I just want to ask, did you break up with Song Xingyu? Hui Yan replied perfunctorily with an Did she cry? Hui Shen knew his question was strange and explained. Here's the thing. I just imagined that when you break up with her, she will definitely cry. Somehow, that picture made me feel sorry for her. If you haven't mentioned it yet, then don't mention it for now. Hui Yan's attention wasn't on him at all at this moment. He replied irritably, "We'll talk about it later." Then he hung up the phone. In the bathroom, the ambiguity rose again. Hui Yan hugged me from behind and asked, "Who am I?" "Hui Yan, who do you like the most?" "I like Hui Yan the most." "Good girl, you're my good girl." However, neither of us noticed that Hui Yan was in such a hurry just now that he didn't press the hang up button properly. The phone was still connected. "What are you doing?" Hui Shen's voice came from the phone with a hint of trembling. Hui Yan and I then realized that the call had been going on for 20 minutes. Hui Yan quickly hung up the phone, but Hui Shen didn't give up and instead called me. I didn't answer any of his calls. "Your brother should be on his way here. He's probably stepping on the gas pedal as hard as he can." I put on my clothes slowly. "Yeah. Don't be afraid, I'm here." "What are you going to do?" "Don't worry about it, leave everything to me, you go to sleep." I heard that the relationship between the two Hu brothers was very good. Hui Yan always favored his younger brother unconditionally, and Hui Shen, although he was unrestrained outside, was always very obedient in front of his elder brother. I thought tonight would pass peacefully. After a while, Hui Shen arrived. He rushed in without hesitation. He directly punched Hui Yan. I looked at the out-of-control Hui Shen in surprise. This was different from what I had expected. Hui Yan didn't dodge either. He took the punch solidly. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said calmly, "Go on." Hui Shen didn't hold back and punched him twice more. I finally understood. The so-called "leave everything to me" meant letting Hui Shen punch him enough to vent his anger. Seeing that Hui Yan was getting injured, I stepped in to stop them. "Stop. If you two keep fighting in my house, both of you will get out." Hui Shen stopped. His eyes were bloodshot, and the way he looked at me was filled with confusion and heartbreak. "Hui Yan, you go first. I want to talk to him alone for a while." Hui Yan didn't want to leave. I had to soothe him. "Don't worry. There are some things that only I can solve." Hui Yan was sent away by me. The moment he closed the door, no one saw that I faintly showed a smile. "Yes, there are some things that only I can solve. There are some flames that only I can fan." As soon as he left, Hui Shen hugged me in his arms and kept apologizing. "Xingxing, I'm sorry. I'm a jerk. It's all my fault. I'm sorry." I brewed my emotions and squeezed out some tears. "Your brother? What about my brother? He coerced me with your messages. I had no choice. I had actually thought about this day for a long time, exaggerating and sowing discord. I was originally worried whether this plan would succeed, but seeing the way Hui Shen punched people just now, I was confident. Men are creatures driven by possessiveness. Even if Hui Shen didn't like me that much, as long as he believed that I was still his, he would never allow others to touch me, even his own brother. As for Hui Yan, I didn't trust him from the very beginning. A person who only cares about the company's reputation, a person who would lie for his younger brother. Why should I believe that he would side with me? So, from the very beginning, I had a plan. I was going to take everything from him. I was going to get my money back, and I didn't hesitate to betray him. It can only be said that neither of the two brothers is innocent. After my long complaint with a pitiful look, Hui Shen's anger reached its peak. At this time, the clock pointed to 6:30 in the morning. I hadn't closed my eyes all night, but I wasn't sleepy at all. Instead, I was very excited. Hui Shen slammed the door and left, intending to confront Hui Yan. The room finally became quiet. I took out the hidden suitcase and broke the phone card, feeling relieved. I got on the high-speed train back to my hometown. This was also part of my plan. As I said just now, I didn't trust either of these two brothers. Sowing discord could at most plant a thorn in their hearts, but they were unlikely to really turn against each other because of me. Once they calmed down, they might even join forces against me. So, I had to run away after stirring up trouble as early as a week ago. I submitted my resignation. I actually had the intention of going back to my hometown for a long time before. I just couldn't bear to part with Hui Shen's face. Now, I finally got my wish. The train was moving in the direction where the sun was rising. Thinking that I would never have to see those two people again, I couldn't help but laugh happily. After going back to my hometown for 3 months, my days were ordinary but joyful. My high school best friend, Feng Ran, worked in the same company as me. The advantage was that we always hung out together, and there was no disadvantage. Before Christmas, the company organized a team-building activity. Feng Ran brought me some gossip. This is nominally a team-building activity, but actually, it's to welcome the new boss. What new boss? Our company attracted an investment some time ago. I heard that it was from a boss in City A. City A. This familiar place made my eyelids twitch, but there were so many entrepreneurs in City A. It couldn't be such a coincidence. Feng Ran murmured, "Is our company really that amazing? Even a boss from City A is optimistic about us." On the day of the team-building activity, Feng Ran and I sat in the corner of the restaurant. I told her about the romantic entanglement I had in City A. Feng Ran was full of wonder. "It feels like your relationship was more like spending money to chase a star There is still a difference. I tilted my head and thought, I could touch and sleep with him, but you can't do that when chasing a star. She was curious again and said, are there really no photos? I want to see how handsome he is. To the extent that you couldn't help but get involved with both brothers. I deleted all of them on the day I left. The two Hua brothers were very low-key. There were no photos of them on the internet, and there was no information about them either. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been deceived by Hua Shen pretending to be poor for several months. Feng Ran expressed her regret. You should really cure your obsession with good looks. Don't worry, the organization, I've already cured it. I won't like handsome guys anymore. Is that so? At 10 o'clock from your direction. There's a handsome guy in a suit who seems to be your type. Where is he? I turned my head quickly, realizing that Feng Ran might be lying to me, but there really was a handsome guy. See, I didn't lie to you. I wanted to tell you just now. It was an extremely familiar face. He was wearing rimless glasses, and his hair was combed neatly. It was Hui Yan today. Hui Yan didn't need to pretend to be anyone else. He just needed to be himself, a superior that everyone fawned over. But why was he here? I didn't react for a moment. At this moment, Hui Yan suddenly turned his head and looked in my direction. I quickly turned my neck back and broke out in a cold sweat. Feng Ran was chatting in the group. I asked in the small group. That's the new boss who invested in our company. Gosh, he's so handsome. What's his name again? Let me check. His name is Hui Yan. Oh right. Hua. Feng Ran almost bit her own tongue. You mean he's Hui Yan? Yes. Damn, what a coincidence. Was it really just a coincidence? I held the chopsticks tightly and didn't dare to move at all. Feng Ran asked. There are actually two such amazing faces. Yes, sister, you really had a good time. I wasn't in the mood to joke with Feng Ran. I picked up my bag and prepared to run away. Fortunately, Hui Yan probably didn't see me just now. My colleague said that he had already left with General Manager Wang. The bus station was right at the entrance of the restaurant. While waiting for the bus, a familiar voice sounded from diagonally above. Aren't you going to continue eating? Hui Yan asked calmly. I froze in place. It seemed that he just came out to smoke a cigarette. General Manager Wang, the top leader of our company, was also with him. General Manager Wang introduced me to him. This is Xiaosong from our company. Hui Yan nodded slightly. He looked normal, as if he didn't recognize me at all. Maybe it was because I was wearing a fluffy hat and a scarf that covered most of my face. Song wasn't a rare surname either. General Manager Wang continued to flatter him. Hui Yan suddenly interrupted him. What's your position? Me, you don't know my. I'm asking about Xiaosong. I forced myself to say, I'm the creative team leader. Not bad, young, and promising. General Manager Wang said, Mr. Hua is praising you. Hurry up and thank him. Young people nowadays don't understand the ways of the world at all. I said, thank you, Mr. Hua. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. The bus still didn't come. I was going to call a taxi and leave this place quickly. Before I could raise my arm, a black Kian slowly drove over. Hui Yan took the initiative to open the door of the back seat. Xiaosong, I'll give you a ride. At this point, if I still thought he didn't recognize me, I would be too stupid. I turned around and was about to run, but Hui Yan grabbed my wrist. Song Xingyu, are you this cold to the men you've slept with? He whispered these words into my ear. General Manager Wang didn't hear it. General Manager Wang had already put on a serious face. Come here quickly, Mr. Hua is being kind enough to give you a ride considering it's going to snow. Don't be ungrateful. I had no choice but to get into the car. Hui Yan sat next to me, and General Manager Wang went to the front passenger seat. During the whole journey, only General Manager Wang kept talking. Hui Yan rarely joined in the conversation, and it wasn't appropriate for me to speak either. What could be more embarrassing than this situation? Hui Yan must have already known about the false accusations I made in front of Hua Shen. When I told that lie, I just wanted to take revenge for a moment. I never planned to meet them again at all. In the front seat, General Manager Wang was tired of talking and turned to look at me. Xiaosong, don't just sit there, say something too. What should I say? After a moment of silence, I spoke politely. Thank you, Mr. Hua, for investing in our company. You're welcome. I have my own purpose. Don't worry, Mr. Hua. Our company won't let you down. I'm not very interested in your company. Hui Yan's words surprised General Manager Wang in the front seat. Then, he slowly said another sentence. However, if I didn't use this method, would you be willing to see me? Song Xingyu. General Manager Wang's expression was as if he had seen a ghost. Even the driver couldn't help but take a few more glances at me through the rearview mirror. Since things had come to this point, I decided to just go all out. You really went to great lengths, I said sarcastically. Going to great lengths is nothing, as long as it can turn into the money for getting a wife in the future. Hui Yan, are you out of your mind? After saying this, General Manager Wang looked at me in horror. It was as if he was saying, "Please, miss, be careful with your words." Hui Yan wasn't angry at all. Instead, he smiled. "I don't know if I'm out of my mind, but I can wait. During these 3 months, I've been quietly looking for you. Even when I found you, I didn't dare to disturb you rashly. I could only use this roundabout way. I hope you don't mind. I have nothing to say. Please stop the car." Hui Yan held my hand. "You have nothing to say, but I do. I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. I was wrong about that. This time I came to you. I also wanted to explain it to you properly. No need for the explanation. Do you hate me? Yes, but you also said that you like me the most. That was to play tricks on you. Those who deceive others will always be deceived themselves. Xing, there's something I must tell you. I actually liked you a long time ago." Hui Yan's words were interrupted by a sudden harsh breaking. Sweat dripped from the driver's head. "Sorry, boss. I thought I saw." "Speak." "I thought I saw the second young master." After the driver's sudden stop, I took the opportunity to get out of the car, so I didn't hear the last sentence he said on the way home. I always felt that someone was staring at me from behind, but since there were a lot of people around, I didn't take it to heart. The next day I went downstairs to throw out the trash. Suddenly, I saw that familiar figure again. "Why are you still?" I stopped halfway through my words because the person in front of me wasn't Hui Yan, it was Hui Shen with more flamboyant facial features. It could only be Hui Shen. Xing. He took a long stride and walked towards me. "I've been waiting for you. What do you want?" "I want to apologize to you in person. It was really not easy for these 3 words to come out of the mouth of the second young master of the Hui family. "I'm sorry for pretending to be poor. And I'm also sorry for still having something to do with my ex-girlfriend. I've done so many wrong things. Please don't forgive me so easily." "You mean, come back with me. I'll make up for you one by one." I almost laughed out loud. I wasn't surprised at all that Hui Shen was like this today because I was really good to him, even though I only liked his appearance. During our relationship, I still treated him with all my sincerity. Once he lost this sincerity, he would fall into a huge sense of difference. "I've already cut off contact with my ex-girlfriend. You're welcome to check up on me anytime in the future." Hui Shen took out his phone and wanted me to check it immediately, but I was too lazy to look. "It doesn't matter what you do. Just don't pester me." Hui Shen was stunned. The raised corners of his eyebrows gradually dropped. He didn't give up and changed his words. "I bought the house she rented. There are still some things left at home. You can go back and take a look." "I don't want any of it." "What about the photos?" He took out a thick envelope. "You used to like taking photos of me very much. You took each photo with great care. It was my fault that I didn't cherish your feelings." He took out the photos and asked in a low voice, "Don't you want these either?" "Yeah, I don't want them." Xing. "Don't be angry with your own hard work. Consider it my plea." Hard work. I snatched the photos and waved my hand. They were like snowflakes, fluttering and falling in this winter. Hui Shen finally couldn't hold it in. His eyes turned red. Hui Shen always stood downstairs of my house. Since I didn't want to see him, I simply stayed in the company and worked overtime. Coincidentally, Hui Yan was on a business trip these days, so I could avoid seeing him. At 9:30 in the evening, I was the only one left in the company. I was sorting out the creative plan and couldn't help feeling a bit sleepy. Before I knew it, I fell asleep on the table. When I woke up again, a puff of smoke choked my nose. Oh no, I quickly realized there was a fire. I quickly called the fire department and, following the firefighters' instructions, prepared to escape through the stairwell, but unfortunately the door of the stairwell was locked. I could only go back to the office and wait for the firefighters to arrive, but today was Friday. At this time, people's social gatherings and parties had just ended, and it was another peak time for taking taxis home. The road in front of the company was blocked solidly. The fire was getting bigger and bigger. I tried all kinds of methods, but I couldn't slow it down. In the end, I curled up in the corner, exhausted and having difficulty breathing. I said there were no benefits to working overtime. Now I was going to lose my life. In a state of despair, there was a sudden heavy pounding on the fireproof door. Once, twice, I lost count of how many times, and finally, the door was broken open. Hui Yan rushed into the flames and carried me on his shoulder. Before I lost consciousness, I heard the familiar soothing words, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." I woke up after lying in the hospital for a while. Fong ran through herself on me. "Woo-woo, it's great that you're okay, sister. Are you mourning?" "Pfft, don't talk nonsense. Fortunately, Mr. Hu arrived in time." I asked her, "Where's Hui Yan?" Fong Ran sighed. "He's not in a good condition. His left arm is fractured." "How could it be fractured?" "He broke the door by hitting it." I was instantly stunned. Vaguely, I remembered that the heavy fireproof door was broken open by Hui Yan with his own body. Imagine how much pain he must have endured. rescuing you while enduring a fractured arm, Feng Ran murmured in my ear. Is he really as bad as you said? I jumped off the hospital bed and went to find Huyen. His left arm was wrapped up tightly. He was sitting by the window, calmly reading a work report. When he saw me coming, Huyen sent the others away. Is there anything uncomfortable with your body? He asked. I'm okay. If you feel uncomfortable, tell the doctor in time. Weren't you on a business trip? I couldn't help asking. I got off the plane at 8 o'clock. When I heard that you were working overtime, I wanted to go back to the company and check on you. Fortunately, I made it in time. His tone was gentle and calm. He didn't mention his injury at all. Do you know how dangerous the situation was? What if you couldn't get out either? Then it would be just right. I could be burned to death with you. When is this? Stop joking, Huyen said. I can see that you're a bit nervous. If you don't like it, I won't joke anymore. I looked at him with a complicated expression. Your life is precious. Why did you save me? There's no need for a reason to save you. My body acted before my brain could think it through. Huyen, you're really strange. You lied to me first and then saved me. Why do you think I lied to you? Isn't it for the reputation of your family and the group? Huyan's expression changed. Who said that? I was also taken aback. Isn't it, Xingxing? If I really wanted to maintain the reputation, I could have 1,000 ways to deal with you. Why did I choose the most difficult path? Don't you really understand? Let me ask you another way. Can't you really feel that I've liked you for a long time? I was stunned. May I ask, how long is a long time? Since you were chasing Huishen, I almost jumped up from the chair at that time. I didn't even know that Huishen had a brother, but he had already been secretly in love with me. Before I could calm down, Huyen gave me another shock. The reason I fell for you was that you mistook me for Huishen. Huyen told me a story. At the beginning of the year I was chasing Huishen when I heard that he was sick. I rushed to the hospital to see him. I looked around and finally found the Shen, who was getting in 4 drip in the corner. I said to him, why are you dressed so formally today? The Huishen looked at me in silence and didn't answer. You look quite handsome in this outfit. By the way, are you hungry? I brought you some food. I made it myself. Huyen originally wanted to tell me that I had mistaken him, but as soon as the lunchbox was opened, he subconsciously swallowed. He was very hungry. He had been busy all day and only then had the time to get an injection. He didn't even have time to get a hospital room and just sat down anywhere. His assistant and secretary had both been sent by him to take care of work. A simple home-cooked meal was exactly what he needed at the moment. To relieve his boredom, I kept talking to him and chatting casually. Huyen gradually opened up and started responding to me. The few hours of the injection finally weren't so hard to endure. In the evening, when going home, he asked me, can we meet again? Of course, you know I like you. Just send me a message if you want to see me. Huyen was stunned for a moment. He squeezed out a disappointed "oh" from his throat. He had no right to contact me. All my concern was for Huishen. As for why I didn't find Huishen in the hospital, it was because it wasn't him who was sick at all. It was Yang Yang. Huishen had been staying with her in the hospital room. Later, I also asked Huishen how the meal was. Huishen replied, it was very good. He didn't actually eat the meal at all, but he knew who had eaten it. Huishen didn't want me to know his whereabouts that day, so he told the first lie. Because of this matter, he also colluded with Huyen. Huyen had just planned to add my contact information and compete fairly. Hearing this, he looked up in disbelief. You lied to her, brother. She likes me a lot. You don't want her to break up with me just after she caught up with me, do you? She'll cry. You too. Yes. We just got together yesterday. On that day, Huyen didn't speak for a long time. When Huishen said he was tired of the relationship and asked his own brother to take his place, Huyen thought it was extremely ridiculous. He even wanted to pry open his younger brother's head to see what was inside, but there was another voice in his heart shouting, this is a good opportunity. Not only could he take the opportunity to get closer to her, but he could also help Song Xingyu get rid of her feelings for Huishen painlessly, because once she knew that Huishen had 2 hearts, she would definitely be very painful, but if he could make her shift her attention, make her fall in love with him, she wouldn't have to bear these blows. Greed grew like a vine. It almost crushed Huyen's long-held moral principles. That was his younger brother's girlfriend. Huyen had always abided by the rules since he was a child and had never made a mistake. How could he do such a thing? He decided to meet Song Xingyu once. If he still couldn't get over it in his heart, he would refuse Huishen if there was no if anymore. From the moment Song Xingyu smiled and took his arm, morality and principles crumbled. He began to indulge in this feeling. He even hoped that he could always stand by her side. It would be best if his younger brother never came back. Sometimes, Huyen felt like a dark snake. He just wanted to coil around her, wrap tightly and merge into one. No one knew these dark sides except himself. After listening to Huyen's explanation, I finally understood why he often showed that strange look in his eyes, a look filled with possessiveness but also extremely restrained, because essentially, he was a calm madman. Huyen rubbed the center of his eyebrows. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't scare you. No, although I didn't really want to admit it, but I actually quite liked this sense of moral violation in him. Unfortunately, since that day, Huyen officially returned to his status as a reserved and noble young master. He was polite, he pursued me step by step. It was as if everything he revealed in front of me that day was just my illusion. The turning point came after the spring festival. Huyen went back to City A. I hadn't seen Huishin for a while either. I thought the two brothers had gone home for the spring festival, so when I saw Huishin's figure that evening, I was a bit surprised. You didn't leave? I asked casually. No. Huishin looked a bit haggard, as if he hadn't slept well. Xing. I tried to learn about your past, my past, your primary school, junior high school, and senior high school. I went to all of them. On the school wall, I saw your photo as an outstanding student. He smiled bitterly. At that time, you were young and tender, but very cute. I just realized that you're actually so excellent, with good grades, good looks, and strong work ability. As he spoke, he became more and more disappointed. Such an excellent girl chased after me, but I was blinded by my family background and failed to notice your goodness. It's all in the past, probably because of the spring festival. I was in a good mood today. Just be sincere when you fall in love with someone else in the future. Someone else. Huishin lowered his head and smiled self-deprecatingly. I was just about to leave. You left something behind. Huishin called out to me again. I said everything can be thrown away. It's the ring I once gave you, and your senior high school graduation album. I stopped in my tracks. No wonder I couldn't find the graduation album recently. It turned out that it was left in City A. That was a memory of senior high school and had nothing to do with Huishin. I don't want the ring. Give me the graduation album. The moment he handed the graduation album to me, he suddenly held it back. And me, I'm also something you left behind. Xing. Take me back too. Huishin pleaded hoarsely, showing a humility I had never seen before. I pushed him away coldly. It's impossible. I took the elevator upstairs. As soon as the door opened, I saw a familiar figure. Huyen was standing by the window in the corridor. I was very surprised. You're back too. I mean, when did you arrive? Not long ago, just half an hour. Why didn't you call and tell me? I did, but you didn't answer. I was busy talking to Huishin at that time. I walked past him guiltily. Suddenly, I realized that from his angle, he could just see the place where I had been standing with Huishin just now. Well, he must have seen everything. I considered it for a moment and said, Huishin just came to return my senior high school commemorative album. Okay. Huyen's expression was very calm, but there was a feeling that a storm was coming. I knew that the scene of Huishin finally holding my hand tightly was hard to explain clearly. Well, forget it. Sometimes, the more you explain, the more misunderstandings there will be. I entered the house and had just changed into my slippers when I was hugged from behind by Huyen. The lights weren't on, and a few rays of the setting sun shone in, creating an ambiguous light. Huyen was extremely irritable and kissed me all the way from my earlobe to my collarbone. I was almost out of breath from his kisses. Weren't you very reserved recently? I was pretending. I was afraid of scaring you. Huyen's eyes were very dark, hiding a possessive desire. My left hand is not convenient. Take off your clothes yourself. He gave the order, his voice slow and deep. Be good and take them off for me to see. This time was more intense than ever. Huyen could hardly move his left hand, but the strength was greater than ever. With a punitive intention, he kept making me choose. Did I like him or Huishin? Was it more comfortable with him or with Huishin? Once in the middle, I was angry and deliberately said Huishin, but it brought even more terrible torture. I couldn't help but regret provoking him. Didn't I already know? He would only coax but not stop. In the end, I felt as if I had just been fished out of the tide, floating and dreamy. Huyen bit my shoulder lightly, still not satisfied. I love you. I was so tired, and I subconsciously replied, I love you too. Huyen was stunned, his eyes full of surprise. I might have already fallen for Huyen a long time ago. In addition to a face that captivated me completely, he also had stable emotions and excellent work ability. Even those who don't admire the strong will be amazed by his excellence. I was the same. During the time he was pursuing me, I was also secretly observing him and learning from him. I was a bit hungry after consuming so much energy. When I opened the door to get the takeout, I suddenly saw a small red velvet box at the door. Inside was a familiar ring. It was a gift he gave me in the first month when I was with Huishin. It was also the only thing he gave me. Huishin had been here, maybe just now. He had stood at the door for a long, long time. The sounds from inside the house cut his heart open one by one, tearing him into pieces in the end. He left the ring and fled in a hurry. When Hui Yan saw me in a daze, he asked, "Are you feeling soft-hearted?" "I'm a bit regretful." "Regretful about what?" He subconsciously clenched the cup. If I had known he was there, I would have been louder. Hui Yan let out a sigh of relief and smiled. "How much louder could you be? How about letting me hear it first?" After that day, I never saw Hui Shin again. Hui Yan and I had a shamelessly sweet relationship. A year later, the company's business expanded to City A. Fong Ran and I became the two people in charge of the project in City A. Another year later, Hui Yan and I got married on the wedding day. Everything went smoothly. The only unexpected thing was that I saw Hui Shin again. Well, that's reasonable. He was the groom's younger brother. It was already good that he wasn't the best man. It was impossible to exclude him. Hui Shen had changed a lot. In the past 2 years, he had traveled and studied abroad. Hui Yan was determined and no longer gave him any help. He lived a difficult life but still survived. The beatings of society had made him much more stable, but the natural flamboyance still couldn't be hidden in his eyebrows and eyes. The elders led Hui Shen to me. He obediently called out. It was very strange. Just occasionally, when I turned my back, I always felt that there was a gaze following me like a shadow. So what? Even if I knew that he still had feelings, what could be done? I took the initiative to hold Hui Yan's hand tightly to make him feel at ease. The appearances were the same, but the souls were different. I only loved sincere people. With the lights flowing and in the spotlight of the crowd, I once again strengthened my choice of him. The end.